called Spinal Fusion. Maybe. Okay, it was written for my sister. Okay, stay. Okay, Spinal Fusion for my sister. It's a lot to ask a woman to agree to lie back on a gurney, fall asleep in the veins, and trust the surgeon to slice her belly, remove the soft obstacles that have curled there for, say, 35 years. Trust him to dive tools and bits of a dead man's bones in behind her aorta, throbbing the fuel of all of her, and shim up the two vertebrae who have crushed each other. The dead bone bits like Sister Bernadette wedging apart two 8th graders, slow dancing, dangerously close because there's no telling how wrongly the two might choose to fuse. It's a lot to ask a woman to decide how much pain she's willing to claim as herself, how often she's willing to stay in bed because her legs refuse to listen, to decide that being filleted in fluorescent light is her best option, signing off on being turned inside out, deciding beforehand who should keep her cats and where to be buried should the surgeon fail in the putting back in. It's a lot to ask a team of strangers to learn to love her organs like she didn't realize she did herself, enough to return them snugly into their slick homes, to love her dancer's spine like she remembers loving it, twisting as streams do. Two towers. My sister was deep in the brown middle of Kansas when 9/11 happened. The highways narrow and cell service spotty, and my mother desperate to know she was safe, desperate to tell her what was happening, while afraid for her to know how evil men had managed to take the world by surprise. My sister's car rolled west, her much older boyfriend asleep in the passenger seat, her few boxes of clothes and Goodwill secondhand chairs dragged in a rental trailer over highway roadkill. There would be a shabby apartment in LA that my mother would never visit, then another. When my sister squirreled away enough tips in a shoebox to leave while he slept. My mother needed to tell her about the towers, needed her to know how even the reliable can one day explode. Those are all bummers, I'm sorry. Archaeological Survey of a 16-year-old boy. A descendant not of Adam, my son was born with a fossil lodged in his throat. That familiar voice of my brother, my father's brother, and the tracheal clench of my grandfather who worked decades managing a concrete ready-mix crew. I hear him instructing his men in tensile strength. In my son's hardening of his own joy, in his reluctant twitch of a smirk in place of liquid laughter, I see all of these past reticent men with their histories of restraint, of refusal to be vulnerable for their women, children, their fear of opening mouthy grins and arms wide for the flesh of the world, bounding towards them in bright beams. These breakwall men preventing waves from enveloping shores. These concrete men resisting flex and torsion. These boulder men refusing to be quarried. These would-be winged men sealing themselves in amber. I have one more. Language acquisition. As the poet reads, I gasp at the tickle of his words in my skin, like the unexpected bridge of a song I need to rewind, need to hear again and now. His words whose meanings I've known for decades or thought so until now, when he spoke them, breathed them forth like clouded vapor, exhaled into winter air that becomes suddenly altostratus. a stormy dialect I want to hear again and again until I too can speak it as if it were my native tongue. It is like my baby aching with her constant wants but lacking language for them, wanting milk or a taste of whatever her brother spoonfuls to his mouth, or wanting to see that photo of her father framed high on a high shelf, or feel the satin ribbon edging of her blanket cool between her fingertips, or to be lifted to an open window where grassed wind stirs the curtains, her eyelids fluttering in breeze and bright, to feel my arms' raptness contain her within her ever-widening world.